Hey everybody, it's Mr. Greg here from the Kindergarten Smorgasbord, and we are finally back with submissions for Smorgie Live, and we're kicking off a brand new school year tonight. Today was my very first day of school for the school year, so I spent a half a day with my new group of mustaches, and so it was a fantastic day. I'm so excited to finally get to meet the new group. They were a fantastic group. I can't wait to share their stories with you and share our journey together. It was a fantastic first day, and what a better way to end my first day of school than kicking off another year of submissions for Smorgie Live. So a couple of housekeeping things before we jump in. Tonight we're sponsored by our friends at ESGI. So we're giving away a 1-year subscription to ESGI. And we are sponsored by our friend Bryce from the Teaching Texan, who's giving away one of his customizable teacher planners. So in order to enter, you need to head over to the blog, thekindergartensmorgasbord.com. You scroll down, you'll click on the first post, you'll see a raffle copter, and you just put in your email and enter. You just have to enter once.
Everybody's saying they can't enter for some reason. Everybody said they won't let them enter.
What's going on. Right, I'll keep talking and we'll figure that out. So we'll get that fixed. And remember, you have to be present in the chat to win. And
Are you looking too?
yeah, I'm looking. Let's see. So
it looks like everything's fine.
Yep.
If you tried to enter before 6:45, it won't let you. So yeah, you'll probably need to go back right now and enter because it doesn't go live, and it didn't go live until 6:45 p.m. So it won't allow me to put in the email everyone's saying.
Can't figure out why. So we're also joined by our friend Rochelle from ESGI. So she is going to be here in just a couple of minutes. She is going to answer all of our questions about ESGI and how,
It's working.
Okay, it is working? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so sorry about that. We'll get Rochelle on here and we'll get started. So make sure you head over to the blog to get entered. You must be present in the chat to win. And remember, we're going for 90 minutes tonight. So we'll be going until 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. So with that, I'm going to introduce Rochelle from ESGI. Say hi, Rochelle.
Hi, everybody.
So Rochelle is here for the first 15 minutes. She's going to talk to us a little bit about ESGI and how ESGI can save us up to 400 hours in our classrooms. And we all know how much we need more time. And you all know how much I love ESGI and swear by it. And so I'm excited that Rochelle is here. And so I'm going to let her take over for a couple of minutes. So she'll kind of talk about ESGI and how it works and the benefits. And then if you have questions, you can ask those in the chat and we can answer those. All right, so Rochelle, take it away.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Thanks for letting us be here and telling all the teachers about ESGI. We're super excited to partner with you to bring the word out about saving 400 hours a year in the assessment process. Now, ESGI stands for Educational Software for Guiding Instruction, and it is an online assessment platform. Takes everything you do with paper and pencil assessments and puts it online. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what it looks like. I don't have a computer with me right now, but I do have some screenshots. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what it looks like when you sign in with your username or password. Now, we do offer a free 60-day trial. So if you go on our website, esgisoftware.com, you can sign up for a free 60-day trial with the promo code Smorgie. So make sure you put that in there where it says promo code. Anyone can sign up for a free 60-day trial, no credit card needed. All right, so you sign in with a username and password after you create your trial account, and then you can test students. The student is with you at the computer or the iPad, and you choose tests that you can give them. Now, here's a great thing. Mr. Greg has his tests in ESGI. So if you go in after you sign up, you go to our Test Explorer, and you can see that he has created some tests. I know it's hard to see, but trust me, they're in there. All of his tests right here for language arts and for math. I've got 2 screens here. There's a lot of tests you can choose from. So if you are doing the ABC boot camp, you might want to go in and get some assessments to match the curriculum. So once you have the tests that you want, again, you bring the child over to the computer, and then you see a test screen. This is one of the tests, happens to be sight words. Once you see that, you click on the yes if they answer correctly, or no if they answer incorrectly. And you can even take notes on what they say. So you go through the tests like this, clicking, so easy, so fast. Teachers are telling us using the iPad has been great. And once you get all those tests done, how about a parent letter in English or Spanish, depending on home language, showing everything that the child knows and doesn't know? You can print this or you can send it home attached to an email. This is a really neat letter because it's professional looking. It's got your name on it. It's got the child's name on it and the date. So I think teachers really like this, don't you, Greg?
Yes, that's one of my favorite parts about ESGI is that it makes communicating with the parents so easy. They can see the test and they can see what the kids got right and what they got wrong. It makes communicating so much easier. So yeah, so that's one of my favorite parts of ESGI. But
that's not all. How about the flashcards to go along with it? So there are flashcards with the child's name and the date, and you can send these home, print them out and send them home, or email them. So that's just a couple of ways you can communicate with parents and you can track student data. But then there's other reports. This happens to be a history graph for a student. It shows each and every time that the child was assessed. Now, this is really important for RTI data. It's really important for IEP data, and it shows every single time that they were assessed. And this child made good progress, as you can see. You could choose different marking periods as well. And when you actually hover over each one of those spots, it will say the time and the date and what kind of a test it was and what score it was. So that's really important, especially when we're trying to track whether a child does better in the morning or the afternoon with assessments. So this is the history graph, which is underneath the pie charts. And then this is one of the graphs that is my favorite. This is the bar graph. What this is showing is the least known to most known items that you assessed. So you can see here B was the least known letter, and as we look all the way up here, you can see each one of the items and how the kids did on it. Now the neat thing is you click on the gray area and up pops a list showing those students who haven't mastered it or who have not yet been assessed. So this can be used for small groups. When you're teaching that concept, you're going to put them close on the carpet, and it really is helpful to differentiate instruction. Also, this is the one that's really going to help you guide your instruction because you're not going to spend time on the ones that most students have mastered. So I think that's probably my favorite bar graph analysis. One more report I want to show. This one is the class totals report. It's showing growth over the time for the students. I know it's hard to see on this screen, but when you put your own class in here, you will be able to see how the students are growing over each assessment. It also helps you make groups because you can sort this report. So that's a little bit about what ESGI can do for you in the classroom with assessments. Of course, there's a lot more that you can do. But one other feature I wanted to point out was something that some teachers don't really notice with ESGI. And if you've been an ESGI user, perhaps you've never really clicked on that button at the very top called the class management tool. This time of year is especially important to click on that because it's going to save you a lot of time when you're setting up your classroom. One of the things that it can do is track all kinds of lists. You know, when you're collecting all the permission slips and the emergency cards and all those things, class management tool will help you track that. Another thing that it can do, it can print out reports like this. Just with a click, all your students' names appear on cubby little cards. So you can put them in the cubbies. You can actually use these types of cards for bar graphs, pocket charts, things like that, all just with one click. So all your students are entered and you print out this kind of report. Here's another report. Name plates for your desks. It's got each child's name. All you do is cut it. You can even put it on colored paper and laminate it. And then each time you get a new student, you can print out a new one of these. And I know that you spend a lot of money on this kind of thing, but ESGI's class management tool is going to help you with one click print out reports. One more. Oh, this one's hard to see. Sorry, everybody. This is the name writing practice. Should have made it in dark. You can make it in different font and different colors as well. But this one here is name writing practice for our friend Sully. It's got tracing names, and you could do first name, last name, or first name and last initial. So a lot of different things that you can do with the class management tool. And I know that Greg and Jason are really using this year to set up their classroom. The class management tool, they learned about it at Vegas, and I know they probably use some of those reports when setting up the classroom.
Yeah, I think the list, keeping track of all the paperwork that gets sent home, and then it comes back, and you have to keep track of all of those forms and the information cards and the health forms and the lunch forms. Having that list feature is great. So let's see if we have any questions about ESGI, and we'll see if we can get some of those answered in the next couple of minutes.
We do have some questions. Kristen from ESGI is actually in the chat. She's been answering some of those for us, but I think there's a few that maybe she hasn't been able to get to. So Rochelle, maybe you can help us out here just to make sure we get them answered. Mm-hmm. So if someone already had a free trial in January, can they do another one?
We allow one free trial per email address. And if you did a free trial, there's ways to get discounts. Again, don't forget, if you want to purchase, you get a discount by using that promo code, $40 off your first year subscription. So if you already tried a trial, maybe now it's time to use the promo code and purchase. That brings it down to $159 for a year subscription. And, over a whole year, $159 is a pretty good deal, I think. And getting that discount really helps.
Yeah, and totally worth every penny. It saves so much time. It makes assessing so easy. It makes data so easy, and it's almost instant data. So if you're in the middle of a unit or working on a skill or a concept, and you want to quickly kind of figure out where the kids are and maybe where you need to go and refine your instruction, I mean, you can pull the kids one at a time, and in just a few minutes, you can have some instant data on what you're working on. So it really is, it's worth the price. It's worth every penny. So highly recommend it.
Kim says that she's had trouble getting all of the tests to show up. She said it seems like there's a limited amount that show up. How can she access all of the assessments?
That's something we probably need you to write to contact us so we can actually troubleshoot. However, the new Test Explorer is really easy to find tests and to add tests to your account. When I showed you Greg's tests that you can find, all you need to do is put Greg's name in, or you can put a concept in. So if you're just looking for tests, patterning tests, you just put patterning in, and it pulls up all the tests that are about patterning. And with the new Test Explorer, all you need to do is click one button and it adds it to your account. So I'm not exactly sure what the issue will be, but just contact us and we'll be happy to troubleshoot for you.
Okay, great. And they can do that through the website, correct?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. So when you're actually doing the assessments, do the kids click on the correct letters or words, or does the teacher do it? The kid just tells you the answer.
Yeah, the teacher does the clicking. So you would have it on your computer or your iPad. So let's say we're doing ABC Boot Camp, and the letter or sight words, and if they read her, then I would click yes. If they can't read it, I would click no. So the teacher does the clicking. The kids are just verbally giving you a response.
Okay.
So,
ESGI wants to make sure that the teacher is part of the equation and the teacher's making all the educational decisions whether the child is getting or not. We know it's really hard for a 4-year-old to assess themselves on a computer, so we want to make sure that the teacher has the ability.
Awesome, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Kara wants to know about, say they already have a math curriculum that they're already using and it's working well and it has tests with it already. How could ESGI be used in conjunction with the tests that they're already using?
Tests are very easy to make, aren't they, Greg? It's very simple to create your own assessments in ESGI. Just make sure they're in the yes/no format, and you can then manually enter all the tests. It's really easy, though. There's a video that walks you through it, and it really will just take you a short amount of time to do it. One other idea is that you get your colleagues to help you out. They create half the tests, and you create half the tests, and then you share them, so the job isn't as hard.
Well, and also I think I want to make sure everybody knows that there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pre-made assessments already available. And so there are probably assessments that align with what you're teaching in your curriculum. I know there are assessments for all of the Common Core standards, for the TEKS standards in Texas, I think for the Georgia standards. So there are assessments already created that probably will fit into your curriculum that you're already using.
So what if you're purchasing for an entire school? Do you have to purchase one for every teacher? Is there a discount if you purchase for the entire school? How does that work?
Yes and yes. You do purchase per teacher. The licenses are one per teacher. And yes, we do offer discounts for volume purchases. So please request a quote from our customer service department by clicking on the Contact Us on our website, and we'd be happy to give you a quote. Just let us know how many.
Perfect.
Excellent. Awesome.
One more thing, and don't forget to put the promo code on the quote request.
Always use the promo code.
That's right.
Smorgie.
And just to clarify, for those that watch us every month and are familiar with the promo code for ESGI, it's typically B2442. That's what we've always used in the past. So if you have used that promo code, that is still good. That's going to be good forever. We've just added a new code to make it a little easier for us to remember and for everyone else to remember. So everyone knows Mr. Greg, Smorgie. They know the email, Kinder Smorgie. So it's a lot easier to remember Smorgie.
So yeah, so Smorgie or B2442, they will both work.
Do you assess by class or whole grade?
It's by class. So you set up your class in ESGI, and so you assess by class.
Okay.
And then 1-to-1.
Yeah, and it's 1-to-1. So you're doing 1-to-1 in your class. So what my grade level is doing this year, because we all use ESGI, is that I'm creating the assessments for each week, and then every Friday we'll all use the same ESGI assessments on our kids. So we'll all have the common formative assessments, and we'll have all of the data on the same, using the same assessments on the skills for all of our kids. And so all of those tests, as I create them, will also be available.
So Emily wants to know if you print off the page for the kids to look at while you use the computer screen, or do they actually look at the screen with you?
They actually look at the screen with you. So if I were assessing one of my students, they would be sitting right here beside me looking at my computer screen, and I'm just clicking yes or no. So they're sitting right next to me at my table looking at my laptop or iPad.
And what grades is ESGI good for?
Pre-K through 1?
About second grade, because then after second grade, there's not as much 1-to-1 assessment. But that's not to say that older students who are at the level of 1-to-1 assessment can't use ESGI. Of course they can. So we have teachers that teach special ed in the upper grades using it. We also have non-readers in middle school using ESGI. So it just depends. It's really the 1-to-1 assessment is the ticket. One thing I wanted to say also about the clicking, the yes or no. Here's a tip or trick for people that are already ESGI users. You don't have to click the Y and the N on the screen. You can actually use the arrows on your keyboard. So if the kids get a little wise to the Y and the N and they know what that means, just start using the keyboard left and right arrow. And also, if that's not really working for you, go to the profile in your account and you can set up Y and N to be two totally different words if you want, or letters. So you can use C and I for correct and incorrect, or anything that makes sense to you but won't distract the children.
Very good tip. That's good to know. That's a really good idea.
That is, because it kind of goes into the question that someone actually had just asked. They were curious if the questions were randomized, because kids are good memorizers. So, but you're going to be creating the assessments, right? So
right.
You can randomize them.
Yeah. So when I create my assessments, they're always like when we do the letters, when we do our ABC Bootcamp assessments, those of course are going to be in random order. And so, and because we don't do them like every day or every week, there's enough of a time gap between the letter assessments that the kids don't pick up on the order. And so, of course, you could create the assessment to go in ABC order, but that would definitely skew your data. So yeah, so they are randomized.
And you do create, let's say you're doing alphabetical, you do an ABC order for yourself to make sure you covered all of them. And then ESGI has a randomize button. You just click on the randomize button and it will put them in a different order for you.
All right. Well, I think that is all the questions we have. So I want to say thank you to ESGI for, of course, always sponsoring our submissions live and for being great supporters of teachers. I'm a huge ESGI fan, not only because I love their software, but because they really do love teachers and they want to support teachers and they want to make our jobs easier. And so I want to say a huge thank you to Rochelle for joining us live tonight to talk about ESGI and taking a few minutes out of her night. So Rochelle, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. And I hope everyone has a wonderful school year. Welcome back to school.
All right. So we're going to say bye to Rochelle, and then we are going to jump right back into submissions for Smorgie Live, and we're going to start talking about all things back to school. But
before we do that, just if there were any questions that didn't get answered, or if you think of questions regarding ESGI after tonight's session, you can always feel free to reach out to them directly on their website, or you can email us, kindersmorgie@gmail.com, and we'll make sure that you get your questions answered. If we're not able to answer the question, we'll forward it on to ESGI and make sure that that they see your question so that they can get back to you. We want to make sure that you fully understand what ESGI is, how you can use it in your room, because Mr. Greg believes in it wholeheartedly.
Absolutely.
Doesn't know what he would do without it. So we want to make sure that everyone gets it in your hands, if at all possible. So.
And I can go ahead and tell you this on this Sunday, where we'll be doing a Facebook Live broadcast on the Kindergarten Smorgasbord Facebook page. And I'm going to kind of walk you through ESGI and how to get a test and how to assess. And so I'll kind of give you a little bit of a tutorial on how it all works. All right. So if you have back to school questions, ABC Bootcamp questions, any questions at all, go ahead and start bombarding Jason with those in the chat. And we can start answering questions. Remember to head over to the blog, thekindergartensmorgasbord.com, to get entered for tonight's giveaways. You can win 1 year of ESGI, or you could win a customizable teacher planner from Bryce at the Teaching Texan. So get entered on the kindergartensmorgasbord.com. Remember, you have to be present to win. All right, so we have any questions?
Well, Lori said that she's looking for the bath mats in Target. She didn't see any. I guess you just got to keep on looking, right?
Everybody bought all of them. So we had the same problem last weekend. We were looking for the containers for the glue sponges, and Walmart and Target were both out. And so I think everybody's running to Walmart and Target to buy glue sponge containers and bath mats. But yeah, so check Walmart also. I got them at Walmart also, so you can check there also.
Do you start number in ABC Bootcamp at the same time?
Yes. So on Monday, we will start ABC Bootcamp and Number Bootcamp. So the way our schedule works is we have literacy in the morning, so we do ABC Bootcamp in the morning, and then we'll have a break for recess and specials and lunch. And then when we come back, we have math in the afternoon, so we'll do Number Bootcamp in the afternoon.
How many staff did you have this year?
As of right now, I'm at 18. Had 15 today, 2 did not show up, and then added 1, so I'm sitting at 18, so I'll probably have 16 to 18.
Can you talk a little bit about teacher burnout?
Yes.
How do you deal with teacher burnout?
Well, you have to remember, we have one of the hardest jobs in the world. It's so stressful. There's so much expectations and pressure put on us, and then not only that, but just the responsibility of our job, which is to educate our kids and educate our future generations. But then you take all of the negativity from the news and social media and all of the mandates and the pressure from test scores and all of that stuff that surrounds teaching, and just the incredible amount of work that is required of us. It's hard not to get burned out, which is why I think it's important to find some balance. Find a hobby, get outside, do some exercising, but also find your tribe and surround yourself with teachers who lift you up and inspire you and encourage you. But it's also important to have those people that you can go to when you need to vent and you need to get stuff off and you need to just get it out, because we all have those moments. And so you need those people that you can go to their classroom, or you can call them on the phone, close the door, and pour it out and just be done with it. And somebody that you trust that's not going to go repeat that. So you need to find people that you trust and that can support you and love you and encourage you. And you can always go on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and click on the hashtag Happy Classrooms and scroll through all of those Happy Classrooms posts. And those can be very, very encouraging and uplifting. I like to scroll through those just to get that, to feel the feels about teaching. But it's hard. We have the best job in the world, but it's the hardest job in the world. And so I totally understand teacher burnout. But always remember to take time for yourself, because we're no good in our classroom if we're not 100%. And surround yourself with people who love you and support you. And remember, at the end of the day, it's about the kids, and it's about giving them the best education possible every day. And so sometimes we just have to kind of block that stuff out and really just focus on the kids and let them lift us up.
Kelly wants to know if you can give her some tips on organization. She says she starts with great intentions every year, but then ends up with so many piles of papers around her room.
Well, welcome to my world. Everything always starts out so nice and organized, and by Wednesday of next week, it'll be a hot mess. So something that my teammate Mindy does that I am adopting this year to keep organized all of the notes and forms and stuff from each kid is that everybody will have a binder. And in that binder, there will be page protectors, and they'll be numbered. Of course, my kids are numbered in order, ABC order. And so the page protectors will be numbered. So when I get notes and information and paperwork from kids, I can just slide it into the page protectors. And so if I need to get information on Julia, I can flip to Julia be number 12. I can go to number 12 in that binder, and all of her stuff will be there. So I'm hoping that helps keep some of that paperwork down. I've heard people who put an ink pen in their teacher mailbox, and so any form that they pull out of their teacher mailbox that needs to be filled out, they can fill it out right away. Have a folder for copies, so you can always just have that folder there. And just ESGI is a great way to cut down on paperwork, because you don't have all of those paper assessments everywhere. So yeah, but it's hard because we get so busy and we don't have time during the day to take care of that stuff. It's hard to stay organized. Folders, color code everything. I have a Monday through Friday drawer, so everything I need for Monday is in the Monday drawer. And I try to get those ready on Fridays and Monday mornings, so everything's ready for the week. And get rid of stuff. I got rid of like a whole hallway full of stuff in the past few days, which made the mister extremely happy because he loves when I purge. Now the rule is if I buy something new, I have to get rid of something. So purge, ESGI cuts down on paperwork. So I hope that helps. And color coding works wonders for me. So color code all the things.
All right, next question. Kara says that she bought ABC Boot Camp.
Yes.
But now what? She says, where should I start when getting everything together? I knew there was a lot of resources, but I don't think I expected everything.
Well,
that's a good problem to have, right?
Exactly.
Much than not enough.
Yes, and of course, when I designed it and created it, I created it to give you tons of resources so that you could use it to fit your classroom needs. The simplest way to implement it are to do the circle maps, the handwriting, and the hats. And then after you're done with the 26-day boot camp, then you can implement the student circle maps as a small group activity. So that really is the easiest way. So then the rest, of course, and then you're going to want to implement the centers as you introduce centers in your classroom. But start with the circle maps, the handwriting, and the hats. That's the easiest way to implement it. So what I do on Sundays is I make all of the charts for the week. And so this Sunday, I will make my circle maps for A, B, C, D, E. Yeah. And then we'll have that ready. I'll have all the handwriting pages copied and ready. So that's the easiest way to implement it. And then if you have extra time, or if you want to implement some of the art projects that are included, you can implement those also. But circle maps, the handwriting, and the hats are the easiest way to implement ABC Bootcamp, and you'll still get the full benefit of the research and of ABC Bootcamp.
Amy asked, how do you decide what order that you're going to teach your sight words? Is it your choice, or is it based on a curriculum?
If you've ever heard me talk about sight words, you know I got very frustrated last year because we had like random lists of sight words coming to us at random times of the year. So we were constantly being forced to change our grids and our assessment. But this year, our district finally came out with a plan for the sight words. So we're using the 25 sight words for Fountas and Pinnell that show up in their guided reading or their text level assessments. And then we're using sight words from Journeys. And so the district gave us those two lists. And so what we did was we just took those lists and started plugging them into our weeks. So we started with the Fountas and Pinnell 25, then we go into the Journeys sight words. So we just went down the list as we plugged them in.
Kind of hopping back to ABC Bootcamp for a second. Can you still use it even if your district has an order of how to teach the letters?
Absolutely. It was created to be completely 100% flexible and adaptable. So it can be, you can do it in order, you can do a letter a day, you can do a letter a week if you wanted. And you can use the letters in any order, so it will totally fit any curriculum or scope and sequence or pacing guides or anything that your district requires. It fits all of that. So you can totally make it work for you and your students.
Do the kids ever get tired of making a hat every day?
No, the kids love the hats. I think that's one of their favorite parts. That's one of my favorite parts. And it's always different every day. And so they get really excited because it's always something new and different. And now with the hats that Jenny from Jen Hart Design created, now there are two choices. And so once we kind of settle into the routine and the kids are a little more independent, I will offer them both choices of hat. So they'll even have a little bit of choice when they're making the hats. And so they'll get to pick what hat they want.
Well, and I think the fun thing about the hats is the fact that they're not, the kids don't know what the hat is going to be for the next day. So I think if I were 5, I would be excited to find out what my hat is going to be for that day. What I'm going to be coloring them. I think that would be fun.
And we have found that it's helping ease the transition into school for a lot of our kids, because the adults who help with arrival start asking our kindergartners what the letter for boot camp is that day and what they think the hat might be. And so it also gets them over a little bit of that fear of school and transitioning into kindergarten. And I mean, come on, they're super fun and cute. Who doesn't want to do fun and cute hats? And it also goes back to how we handle it and approach it. And so to our first day of school today, we all got a first day of school hat. And I made a big deal about how much I love our silly hats. And me and my student teacher both had our hats on, and we got really excited about it. So if we're excited about it every day, and if we're making a hat every day and wearing a hat every day, the kids are going to want to do it. So it's also all in how we sell it. So yes, you have to make a hat, and yes, you have to wear it all day, because then the kids will want to do it, and it just adds to that excitement and the fun of boot camp.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure there's no more boot camp questions before we move on, because I want to try to get them all covered. So Marina says that her first full week is the week after Labor Day. Could she start with a 4-day week for both boot camps, or should she wait until the following week so she has a full 5 days?
I would wait. So here's how it works for me, and then I'll tell you what I think other people should do. So today we had a half day. Tomorrow we have a work day. Friday we have a half day. Then Monday we start with full days for a full weeks. So we will start Monday. So my suggestion is to start, if you start after Labor Day with that 4-day week, wait until the next week. Wait until you can start on a Monday and do a full week. So that for you, that might be your second, like you might start on Monday with a full day and a full week. Wait until the second full week. So always start when you can start on a Monday and have a full week. That really helps the kids settle into that routine over the 5 days. And it makes it easier to start it and to get that routine and the procedures down.
Is it editable? Because Ms. Torres says that she teaches language arts and Spanish and she would need to make any changes.
There are a couple of editable things. The entire thing itself is not editable. We did include the Spanish letters, but it's not editable entirely. You can edit the certificates, and then the dog tags or the superhero capes or the safari hats or the monster eyes are also editable, but that, and the parent letter is also, but that's all that's editable.
Is everyone on your team doing ABC Bootcamp?
Yes, we are.
How many are there on your team?
There are 8 of us, and so we will all start ABC Bootcamp on Monday. And Number Bootcamp also.
And just an FYI, while I'm kind of going through here to make sure we don't have any more questions, and I think we've got them all covered. The Teachers by Teacher store is still on sale today. Everything's 20% off. So if you haven't gotten ABC Bootcamp and you still want it, today's the day to go and get it. Get it 20% off. But that ends tonight at midnight. Isn't that right?
Yes, midnight Eastern time.
Do you hang all of your circle maps?
I do. So we have, we actually have a rope that runs across the entire length of our classroom. And so we hang them up on that rope, and they will stay up there usually until December. And then they'll come down and they all get rolled up and we put them in a basket. And so they're still available for the kids after December, but they're just not on display.
For Number Bootcamp, do you go 1 to 20 at the beginning of the year, or do you simply do 1 to 10 and save the rest for later?
Nope, we go 1 to 20. Just like A to Z, we're gonna do 1 to 20.
So what do you do this week while you're waiting for your first full week to begin ABC Bootcamp?
So today we did, of course, lots of procedures and practice procedures. We did some name writing activities, which I'll be blogging about tomorrow. And then we also, today we learned how to use crayons. We colored a picture of a soccer ball. And then on Friday, again, a lot more procedures. We'll read Miss Nelson is Missing, and we'll talk about what kind of teacher the kids want to have. And we'll also do, on Friday, we're doing our first Foodie Fun Friday, and we're going to make school bus cookies. So really, it's lots of procedures, reading some stories. We did morning meeting today. We started learning our songs. So that's what we'll do today and Friday. Of course, most of Friday morning will be taken up by making school bus cookies.
Can you talk a little bit more about the fashion show, what it is, how it works?
So at the end of boot camp, at the end of the 26 days, we do a fashion show. So the kids get a vest, and it's made from a brown paper grocery bag. You can go to Kroger and Publix or whatever grocery store you have, and you can ask them to donate paper bags, and they will. You cut them into a vest. Each kid is assigned a letter, and it's always random. So I just hand out I have the letters. They're included in ABC Bootcamp. So they're glued onto the vest, and I just hand those out to the kids. I give them a week. They take the vests home, and they decorate the vest with pictures and words.
Kelly wanted to see what an example of a hat.
They decorate their vest with pictures and words for their letter. With some of the letters like X, some of the harder letters, I kind of handpick the kids because I know the families and I know that they can work on it. Also, I have them due to be returned 2 days before our actual fashion show. So if anybody didn't do one or if they couldn't find anything, it gives me 2 days to kind of help them in class. So then what we do is everybody wears their vest. We go into the hallway. All of kindergarten sits in the hallway. We play, of course, Vogue by Madonna, and the kids walk the runway and model their vests. And so that's the fashion show. It's our celebration that we've made it through boot camp. We've learned our letters and sounds, and so now we get to strut our stuff on the runway. So kids love it. It's so much fun, and it's a great way to end that 26 days. So some of the hats. So again, the hats are differentiated. So some of them require some assembly, like this lobster. So, you have to put his legs and his claws on. And then some of them are just very simple. You color and cut out. So like here's a disco ball and a waffle. And so they don't require anything other than you color them and cut them out. So each letter has 2 hats. And so they're differentiated, so you can adapt them to meet your needs of your kids. And like I said, once we get a little more independent about that second week or so of boot camp, then I'll give the kids the choice and they can pick whatever hat that they want. So those are some of the hats.
Having 18 students when you do your fashion show, what about the other 8 letters? We
end up dividing our whole kindergarten, so we end up with groups of 26. So that's how we do it, because we don't have 26. And so and then what we end up doing is when we have, we'll end up with like 5 or 6 groups of 26, and then we'll have like a group that's less than 26. And so we'll give those just random letters. So some letters will be 5 times and a few letters will show up 6 times. So that's how we do it. So you just have to be, flexible and make it work for your grade and your class.
All right, so we've spent a lot of time on ABC Boot Camp, so we're going to move on. If you have more questions, there is a video that you can find on the Facebook page. You just scroll through and you'll find the video for ABC Boot Camp, or you can Google it and you'll find it on YouTube. That'll help answer a lot of your questions. And if you still don't get the answer to your question, feel free to email us, or just go straight to an email. Email us and we'll get the answer to you. And
you can go to the blog, and there are several blog posts about ABC Boot Camp, the research behind it, and there's a separate blog post about the fashion show.
So let's get back to sight words.
Okay.
We kind of touched on.
Make sure you head over to the blog, thekindergartensmorgasbord.com, and get entered for the giveaway. You could win 1 year of ESGI or a customizable teacher planner from the Teaching Texans. So you head over to thekindergartensmorgasbord.com, get entered. Remember, you have to be present in the chat to win.
So back to sight words. How many sight words do you teach per week?
We do 4 sight words per week using our Sight Word 60, and it's on a 4-week cycle. So it's 3 weeks of new words, 4 words a week. So 4 words, 4 words, 4 words, and then review. So we're going to review all 12 words that we've learned, and we're going to review all the previous words. So it's 4 new words, 4 new words, 4 new words, review. So 4 words a week.
That was a very fast answer.
Oh, sorry.
Well, that's fine. I was trying to get the rest of my sight word questions together here. This is hard to do. 150 people asking questions. I'm trying to keep it from, it's not easy.
Everybody give Jason some love for moderating all the crazy teachers and trying to keep us organized and on track. Because Lord knows that we know how hard it is to keep teachers on track.
Sometimes your answers are really long, and sometimes they're like 10 seconds. So, and I never know how long they're going to be. So while I'm still looking for those other sight word questions.
You want me to talk more about sight words?
No. Can you share your center wheel, or can you share the template, or where can they get the center wheel?
You can find the center wheel on the blog. There really isn't a template. All I did, and you're going to, here's a little behind the scenes of the center wheel. It was made with a trash can. So I wanted to make my wheel, and so I couldn't find anything in my classroom that made a big enough circle for the bottom circle, and so I found a big trash can, and that's what made the big circle. But really, you want to make a big circle for the bottom and then a smaller circle for the top wheel. What I did was, after I cut out the circle, the top circle, which is where you put the paper on to make the color coding, is I folded it into 4 so that I could open it up, and I had the very clear lines to create 4 sections. And then I glued the paper. I lined up the corner of the paper in the corner, and then glued it on, and then cut around the wheel so it all fit. Yeah, but it's very, very, very simple to make. So there's not a template. You can see lots of pictures of it on the blog, and then you can kind of see how I made it. But yeah, use a trash can to make the big circle.
How soon do you introduce your centers, and how soon do you begin reading groups?
So I will start centers the 2nd full week of school. So Monday is week 1, and then week 2 I will start introducing centers. That week I won't do a lot of anything other than really just training them on the center. I always start with the tubs. And so I'm really training them on how to go to a tub, get a tub, how to sit down and do what's in the tub, how to clean it up, how to stay in that area. So usually by like Wednesday or Thursday of that week, I'll try to pull a couple of kids just to also get them used to being pulled, and then everybody else continuing to work. So then by week 3, I like to start pulling some groups, just working on letters and name writing and that kind of stuff. So week 2, centers really focused on the procedures and getting them used to the centers, and then week 3, try to start pulling some more groups.
More about centers. So Kim says that she's doing your wheel this year.
Yeah.
How do you give directions for all of the tub activities and write the room, sensory bin, etc., without the kids falling asleep?
So I don't do it all at once. It's a very gradual process. So my advice is to watch for the pumpkins. And so by October, when the pumpkins come, everything should kind of be set up and everything should be flowing. So what I do when I start the tubs next week is that will be a lot of non-academic stuff in the tubs: blocks, Legos, Play-Doh, puzzles, that kind of thing, just so I can really focus on the procedures. There will be some very, very simple letter matching puzzle for the kids to work on. And so then we start doing, we start introducing the center activities in whole group and small groups, and then they go into the centers. So it's a gradual process. So we'll start with the tubs next week. And probably, depending on how they do, also we'll try to introduce Write the Room next week, just because Write the Room is very simple as far as you get a piece of paper and a pencil and you find words and letters and write them. So it's a gradual process. It doesn't all happen next week. Really, next week is about focusing on the procedures of the tubs, and then slowly adding in Write the Room. And then once that's kind of down and solid, we add in the wheel and get them used to looking at the wheel to find their color and picking that color tub and then going to their choices. So it's a very gradual process until October. And then once the pumpkins come in October, things are well and things have been introduced. And because I create all of our center activities, I purposely create them to be done all the same way. And so if you are using my center creations, once you kind of introduce all of that stuff leading up until October, they're good for the rest of the year. So the only thing that really changes are the scale and the clip art. The actual process, the how they do those center activities, stays pretty much the same the entire year. So we invest a lot of time until October learning all of those centers and activities, but we're going to get that time back tenfold the rest of the year because we have a lot less behavior problems, and we don't spend a lot of time teaching new centers every week.
So since you don't have an assistant, how many sight words total do you do all year?
100. Our kids have to master 100 sight words. And so it's actually 88 sight words, but we didn't like that because it wasn't a nice even number. So we went to 100. So we do 100 sight words.
Kelly says that she saw a chart. Not sure what chart she saw, but she says she saw the chart. But there was a picture of a girl practicing her name, which was written in highlighter. Just wondering if that was on the first day.
Well, I will be blogging about this tomorrow, but that is not the first day. That is that will start on Monday, and it's a differentiated way for them to practice writing their names. And so the highlighter is, so most of the kids will have 3 or 4 of their names written in highlighter, and then a couple of blank lines to practice on their own. So they're tracing and then writing on their own. And I'm going to do some more I'm going to blog about that tomorrow and get some more details. But it's a scaffolded way of them practicing their name. Like I had 2 girls today who wrote their names. Not only was it perfect, but it was the most beautiful handwriting. So on Monday when we start the differentiated name writing practice, I'm not going to have them do it. They're going to start with their journals because they don't need to practice. So it's a very scaffolded and differentiated way to practice their names.
Randy asked you to talk a little bit about the songs that you use in your classroom.
Okay. We do a lot of music. We all know how important music is for the brain and how much kids love it. So we do a lot of music. So our morning songs are A Beautiful Day by Jack Hartman. We learned that one today and the kids loved it. We do Alphabet by Dr. Gene for letters and sounds. We do Alien Alphabet, which is available on IntelliTunes. And it's a great ABC song. And what I like about it is that it's slow. And so you can really focus on L, M, N, O, P, and it's X, Y, Z. So we can eliminate the whole LMNOP and the X, Y, and Z. And we also do, later on, we'll introduce the Harry Kindergarten sight word songs on YouTube. And we do, what do the letters say on YouTube? In math, we do a lot of Jack Hartman and Harry Kindergarten songs for math, for counting and adding and subtracting and number recognition and those skills.
Do you have your morning songs listed somewhere on your blog?
I don't think I've ever done a blog post.
You listed a bunch of songs a couple years ago.
That was my playlist, our morning arrival playlist, but that I need to do a blog post about our morning songs and about the songs that we use for academics. So Jason's writing that down right now.
Thanks for the idea, Caitlin.
Yes, so I will definitely do a blog post about that. And I've got tons of videos of the kids doing the songs because we have a blast. And I might have I got new speakers last year with a nice subwoofer. So we're bumping and thumping as we sing and learn. The louder, the better.
Angel is curious if using a highlighted name is better than the dotted line name.
I personally like the highlighter name because I think visually it's a lot easier for the kids to see and trace. I think sometimes the dots can be a little visually cluttering for our kids. So I've done the highlighters for several years, and I've had great success with it. So that's why I do the highlighters.
And you actually write the students' names.
Yeah.
Right?
So like I will, the afternoon before, the morning I'll sit down and do all the highlighter names so they're ready to go when the kids come.
So Lynn, I think we just addressed if the songs are listed on the blog. They're currently not.
Nope.
But I've got that written down so we can get that taken care of.
We'll get a good blog post up on that.
Do you have a list of sight words that you can share? Use the Dolce and Fry, right?
Yeah, so you can actually go on the Facebook page. I've recently reposted it, my big picture plan. So we have our whole year-long plan. All the sight words are listed there. We can also put that, I actually put that on the blog. It'll be easier to find. So you can go to the blog and go to my schedule on Sunday that I did on this past Sunday. And that big picture plan is there, and you can download that, and all the sight words are listed.
And something else that I don't know if a lot of people are aware of on the blog, if you go to the desktop version of the blog, in the upper left-hand corner, there's a search bar. And you can go and you can type anything in there, and if Greg has ever written about it, it's going to pull it up for you. So if you're looking for morning songs, you can go and type in morning songs, and if he's ever blogged about it, you're going to see that.
And another tip that I use a lot myself when I'm looking for a specific blog post is I just go to Google and I type in kindergarten smorgasbord, no tables, no desks, and it'll pull everything up. So that's another way. But yeah, you can go to the schedule on Sunday and see the big picture plan and get the list of sight words. And I'll share that link again on Facebook.
So going back to the music a little bit, Beverly Ann was curious if you use Go Noodle.
I do. We love Go Noodle. They're actually headquartered here in Nashville. And so we use Go Noodle a lot for our brain breaks and our indoor recess. So we always pull up our Go Noodle. Cuckoo Kangaroo was actually in town last night performing live, and I didn't know it.
Oh, really?
I know. Sad day. Not that I would have gone the night before the first day of school, but...
Yolanda is curious if you have a specific social studies and science curriculum that you use.
We... supposedly we're getting social studies weekly this year. So so let me just be honest. No, we don't. We'll have social studies weekly, but I'm just going to send that home with the kids. So social studies is really integrated into our literacy block, as is a lot of our science. So we do a lot of integration. We'll do a lot of social studies stuff like holidays, President's Day. We have a big election unit coming up. we'll do that for social studies. So it's a lot of integration. And then of course, every Friday we do our mad science experiments. So kids are doing hands-on science experiments, which those are also available now on TPT. And so that's how we get a lot of our science standards in, is by doing hands-on science. And we cook every Friday, which is also science. But really everything is really integrated into that literacy block.
Speaking of cooking and using food in the classroom, what do you do about allergies?
So far, knock on wood, I've been very lucky. The only allergy that I've had in the past few years has been bananas. I didn't know you could be allergic to bananas. So I would just adapt what we're doing and just find alternate ways to do our snacks and cooking to make sure that I'm addressing those allergies. Pinterest is a great source if you're wanting to do cooking and snacks and stuff. Pinterest is a great source. I've got tons of blog posts about different snacks and different cooking activities that we've done. But I would just modify what we're doing to make sure that it was safe for the kids with the allergies. But so far, we've been good on allergies.
Brianna says that she's a new third grade teacher teaching in an inner city school. She says the teachers have told her that they are the most aggressive in the whole school. What tip would you have for her?
So I spent 6 years teaching at an inner city school, and there is a lot of aggression and a lot of anger. But really what those kids need is love, and they need to know that you love them and that they're safe and respected. And I found with a lot of them, they needed a relationship with me, but they also, a lot of times, they just need some time to cool down and be alone. And so my kids knew that if they were feeling angry, if they got mad at somebody or mad at me, they knew that they could go in the back of the room and be alone. They could step out in the hallway. We had buddy teachers, and so if they needed to get away, they could go to those buddy teachers and work on take some time and work on some breathing exercises and talk about conflict management ideas and things that you can do instead of getting mad and being aggressive. Because they don't know, our kids don't have other outlets, and so they resort to that aggression. And so if we teach them some alternatives to being aggressive and fighting and physical aggression, then they have more tools in their toolkit. So teach them, give them some other tools to put into their toolkit, and that will help. But really, love them, let them know you care about them, build that relationship with them, and that will help more than anything.
Lynn asked if you can explain how you graph sight words on Friday as it is listed on your lesson plan.
Yeah, so it's totally like super simple. So I take our chart paper, I write our 4 words along the bottom, divide it, and this is how easy it is. Like it's usually done last minute. So I write the 4 words and then I draw squiggly lines so they don't have to be perfectly straight and even. So they look perfectly straight and even, but they're squiggly lines. So I've divided the chart paper into 4 columns. I print off the sight word grids, which I can also link on Facebook, so you can download all of those, because they're the small grids and then I have big ones. So I print off 2 or 3 copies of the big grid for the week, cut it apart, throw those in a bag. Each kid comes up and takes a turn. They reach in, they pull out a sight word, they read it, they show it to the class reads it. If they can't read it, they show it to the class, their friends help them, and then they put a little glue on it and they glue it on the chart paper. And so we make a graph of the sight words. So really they're reading the sight word and gluing it on the chart paper to make a graph.
For behavior, do you use the clip?
Yes. Yeah, so I do have a clip chart. I know that's controversial for a lot of people. And again, you have to use what you're comfortable with and what works in your classroom. What I like about the clip chart is that it's fluid. And so we all have our days go up and down. And so same with our kids. With the clip chart, a couple of things that I always hear from people: well, the same kids end up on red every day, or the same kids end up on orange or yellow. Well, here's some real talk. If the same kid is ending up on yellow or red or orange every day, we need to look at what we're doing, and we need to look and see, Are we doing anything to help? Are we doing anything to prevent that? So that's something that we might need to look at ourselves and figure out if we can help that child more and support them more. Also, we all, I think we're all guilty of this. We all know this can be the case, is that who often gets overlooked? It's the kids who are always doing the right thing, the kids who are always making good choices. So for me, the clip chart is a constant reminder to make sure that I'm acknowledging the kids who are doing the right things. And so I can quickly glance at the chart and see that Julia is still on blue, but I've seen her over and over again, and I know she's doing the right thing, so I can acknowledge that, and she can move her clip up. So yeah, I like the clip chart. The parents like it. The kids like it. Our clip chart is in the very back of our room, so it's not front and center, so it's not a focal point in our classroom. The kids move their own clips, so I don't move their clips because it's their behavior and they're responsible for it. So I do use the clip chart, and can it be used to punish and to shame them? Absolutely, but it's all in how we use it, and so we can use it to be a tool to help the kids make good choices and to reward those who are making good choices. So you have to use what works in your classroom and make it fit into your classroom.
How do you deal with students that feel like the green just isn't good enough?
Well, I think, and again, it's all in how we sell it. Green's, everybody wakes up in the morning on green. And I tell my kids that when I wake up in the morning, I'm on green, because I don't wake up, bad, and I don't wake up good. It is what that's just me. I'm on green. So it's all in how we sell it. So we just have to let them know that green is totally okay.
Before we go to more questions, just another reminder, if you've not signed up for tonight's giveaway, you need to go to the blog and do that. You've got 15 minutes left to go and sign up. Go to kindergartensmorgasbord.com, click on the first blog post, and you will be able to just enter your email address there. That's going to sign you up for both of our giveaways tonight, which is 1 year of ESGI, which is a $200 value, or you might win a teacher planner from the Teaching Texan. You'll only have to enter your email once, and you're entered for both. And something we haven't talked about yet tonight is our conference that's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
October 29th with Debbie Clement. It's going to be tons of fun. It's October 29th. It's a Saturday right here in Nashville. It's going to be at the Music City Center. And something I'm going to do that we haven't done yet here on Submissions Live, and I've been sitting here trying to decide if I wanted to do it or not, but I'm going to go ahead and give everyone that's listening tonight the promo code to get $25 off your registration fee. Registration fee is $150. That's going to get you breakfast. It's going to get you an afternoon snack, and it's going to pay for your making cake. So you get those 3 items.
And a swag bag.
And a swag bag, which is going to be full of tons of stuff. This last one we had almost more than we could fit in.
Yeah.
So you'll receive $25 off that $150. So instead of $150, it's $125.
Okay.
So the promo code is TKSComp16, and I'll put that in the comments here in a moment. But again, that's TKSComp16. In order to register for the conference, just go to the kindergartensmorgasbord.com, click on Schedule Me, and then you'll see the details there, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do to register.
And you can download the brochure and get all the information and see what we're going to be doing. But Debbie Clement will be joining us, and so she'll kind of kick off the day with her fun music and songs and books. And then after Debbie, I will be sharing ideas from my classroom for centers and classroom management, reading. I think that's it. I don't remember. But it'll be. We had the first one back in June, was an absolute blast. We had so much fun, and so this one's going to be even bigger and better. And Debbie Clement will be there, and so ESGI will be there. Alive Studios will be joining us, I think, and yes. So it's going to be a blast. So yeah, so you can go over to the blog and click on Schedule Me, and you can get signed up for the conference. October 29th.
Questions about that? Just email us, kindersmorgie@gmail.com, and we will get you all the answers that you need. We can do POs if you need a PO for your school. People want to know where you're going to be. Someone know if you're coming to Dallas. Are you coming to Minnesota? Now all the questions are starting to come out about where we're going to be. As of right now,
I'm going everywhere.
Smorgasbord Conference is only in Nashville. We have not planned any other kindergarten Smorgasbord conferences anywhere. However, Greg is going to be all over the place this fall and winter. So, hold on just one moment. I will give you.
I will be.
That info. So Greg is going to be in North Dakota in October. That's at the North Dakota Kindergarten Association. That's on October the 8th. He will be at the Wisconsin Kindergarten Conference on October the 15th. He will be at NJAKE in New Jersey on November the 5th.
New Jersey, I'm finally coming for you. Get ready. You've been asking, so here I come.
He will be at KTOT, which is the Kindergarten Teachers of Texas, which is going to be in Arlington, Texas, on November the 12th. He will be at the SDE Minnesota Kindergarten Conference on December the 1st. He'll be at the SDE Arkansas Conference on December the 9th. He'll be at the SDE Texas Conference on February the 28th. He'll be at the Illinois ASCD Kindergarten Conference on March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Last but not least, he'll be at the Minnesota Kindergarten Association in May. It's on May 5th. So there you go. There's everywhere he's going to be. If you didn't catch it all and you need more information, you can go back and watch this later and go to this part, or feel free to email us.
Yeah. We need to start. We need to put a list on the blog.
That's a good idea.
On the Schedule Me page, we need to go in and add that information.
That is a good idea.
I feel like I deserve my own private plane at this point because I'm going all over the place. Like if Oprah can have a private plane, I think I should get one.
Well, if you weren't teaching full time, it wouldn't be as difficult. But it's hard to travel that much and run a full time classroom.
But I love it. I love getting to travel, and I love getting to be with teachers everywhere. And it's always inspiring for me to go and be around teachers all the time.
Is your principal supportive?
He is 1,000% supportive. He loves what I do. He loves the positive attention that it brings to our school, and he loves knowing that I get to go out and do what I love and get to help other teachers. And so he's completely 100% on board, and he's so much on board that he's always pushing me to try new and innovative things. So like when I went to him with the no tables, no desks idea, his comment to me was that if I'm going to be a blogger and if I'm going to be sharing about teaching and offering tips and advice, that I need to be innovative and out of the box. And so he encourages me to take those big risks and to try new things. So he's amazing.
All right, let's get back to our questions. Remember, we're going extra long tonight. We're going until 8:30 our time, 9:30 Eastern. So we've got about 20 minutes left. So we're going to try to fly through some of these questions. Shonda says that she's at a new school this year, and half of her class is Spanish speaking. She doesn't speak any Spanish at all. Do you have some tips to give her to help her not feel so frustrated with the language barrier?
So you very similar to my demographic. Majority of my class are ELL students who speak Spanish. Very interesting. I noticed it already today. The kids watch the other kids and follow their lead. So it's important to really model and get the kids to be good models. Lots of gestures and hand motions and lots of modeling on our part. So even though we may not be able to communicate to them with our words, we can show them visually what we're doing, what we want them to do, where we want them to go, how we want them to do it. And rely on the other kids. The other kids are great helpers when it comes to the translating. And so allow them to help you. But it really just very visual, lots and lots of modeling. And you're going to be amazed at how fast they pick up the language and how fast that they're able to understand you and start talking to you. So don't get frustrated. It can be hard, but they're kids and they're very flexible and they're very visual. So just make sure that you're showing them and telling them. But In a few weeks, you'll be amazed at how far they've come with their language.
What methods do you use to keep in contact with your parents?
I use the app Remind. That's my favorite way to keep in contact with the parents. I like that because nobody has anybody's phone number, so there's a little bit of protection there. But I can send out whole group messages, or I can do private conversations with individual parents. And so that's my preferred way. Send a newsletter home every Monday talking about what we're doing that week. And then we also, most of the parents end up following my Instagram account. So that also helps, so they can kind of know what's going on in the classroom. And I see a lot of our parents at our dismissal time, especially for car riders and walkers. And so I'm able to kind of communicate to them. But Remind app, it's a free app. That's my preferred way of communicating with parents. Because everybody has a phone, and so you're just texting them. And so it works. That's why it's so effective.
Sarah has another question. She wants to know some tips and ideas on helping with fine motor skills. Do you correct pencil grips at all?
I do. I do. I do a lot of clothespin activities for center time. That's great with fine motor. I do a lot of tracing, and that's great for fine motor. And you can also Google Fine Motor Boot Camp, and they're a great resource for some fine motor stuff. Sensory bend can be great for fine motor. Also, random tip that I learned from an occupational therapist several years ago is have the kids do the monkey bars, because it builds the strength in their fingers and hands, which will also help with their fine motor. I've used a ping pong ball to correct pencil grip, so they held onto the ping pong ball and it helps with their pencil grip. Laying on their stomach for handwriting forces them to use the muscles differently through here, and so it helps their pencil grip and their handwriting.
Quick question about Remind. Does it translate into Spanish?
It does. They can actually, I think they might even be able to pick other languages, but I definitely know it does. They can, the parents can set their language, and so it will translate for them.
How much time do you spend doing prep before and after school?
Not a great deal, because I spend most of my Sunday prepping for the week. And so I do that intentionally so that I don't have to stress about it during the week. So, but I'll go in about 45 minutes or so before the kids arrive. And then I'll stay about 15 minutes after they leave. But I don't leave in the afternoons until the morning message is written, the morning journals are out, and the date is written, and the charts are ready. So pretty much when I leave in the afternoon, everything is set for the next day. And again, all of those charts were created on Sunday, so I just have to pull them out. Eventually the kids start writing the date, so I don't have to worry about that. And the kids start putting the morning journals out. So I don't spend a lot of time before and after school, because I front loaded on Sundays. So I can not worry about it during the week. And it just makes the week less stressful.
Kaylin says that she teaches in an area with low parent involvement. What would you recommend to increase parent involvement?
It's hard, because we never fully know the circumstances as to why the parents aren't involved, and so it's hard. Just try to offer as much opportunity as you can. I found that some parents don't have time to come in, but they will help cut stuff out, or they'll send stuff in. Try to do some simple home projects at the beginning of the year, like the ABC Bootcamp Fashion Show. That's a great way at the beginning of the year to connect and get parents involved. We do our hopes and dreams at the beginning of the year, and so the parents have to write some of their hopes and dreams for their kids in kindergarten. So that's a great way to get the parents involved. And so give them lots of different opportunities, maybe that doesn't require them to be in the school, but ways that they can still participate and be involved, even if it's just doing stuff from home.
Lori says that she might be moving schools. Any suggestions on an easy move?
When you pack up, try to pack up so that everything is organized by area. So like if you have cabinets of art supplies, pack all of those together in boxes and label those. So when you get to your new room, you know that these 3 boxes are art supplies and they're going to go here. That's my biggest tip, is to be organized when packing, and don't be afraid to get rid of stuff and kind of purge as you're packing. And same thing as you're unpacking. If you unpack it, you're like, get rid of it. But pack in areas and label everything.
Jennifer asked if you require signed reading logs.
No. Nope. Because, again, we don't know what the circumstances are at home. Maybe the parents can't read, and so they feel intimidated. And then, of course, we know there are situations where they're not really reading. They're just writing the stuff down. So, no, I don't. I think we have to do a better job of showing our kids that reading can be fun. And I think we have to let them know that it's okay to read because you love to read, and you read because it's fun, and you read because you love to read and you love books. We don't always have to do work with reading. And I think every time we read a book and we do a thinking map or a graphic organizer or a story map, like that kills our kids' love of reading. So no. So every night when my kids leave, I tell them 3 things for homework: read a book, practice your sight words, and play. And that's it. Guess what? If they don't read and practice their sight words, that's okay. But I always encourage them to read. But I don't require any reading logs. Just because I just want them to read because they want to, and not because they feel like they have to complete this log. And I don't want to put all of that extra pressure on the parents.
I love the Wave of Water. She just said we don't always have to do work with reading.
Yes. And I always say,
it's a very, very good way to put it.
Yes. I have a slide in one of my presentations that I do, and I always tell people it's my most controversial because it says read for fun. It's okay to pick up a book in your classroom and read it to your kids and laugh and have fun, and then put it down, and that's it. Because if our kids, if we train them that you always have to do work when you read, they're going to hate reading, and that completely defeats what we're trying to do. We want to teach them how to read, but we also want them to love reading. As a kid, I loved reading in books, and I still do. I don't have a lot of time to do it, but that's what I want for my kids. And if we train them that they always have to work after a book, they're going to hate reading. And so we're defeating the whole purpose. And so it is okay to just read for fun.
Do you give homework?
No. So if you followed me for a while, you know I used to send home homework every night. And then I started doing some research and reading some of the research that was coming out. And the research supports that homework in kindergarten has no impact at all on our kids. And so it might even have somewhat of a negative impact. So back in February, I went to my principal and I said, hey, I want to stop sending homework and see what happens. And so he said, let's try it for a couple of months and see if we notice an impact either way. So we did it for a couple of months, and there was no impact. Nobody fell behind. Nobody's grades slipped. And so I'm doing no homework other than I tell them, like I said, read, practice those sight words, and play. And so that's our homework. It's not research-based. It doesn't have an impact on our kids. And so I stopped doing it. It just made my job a little bit easier. Now I don't have to worry about making all those copies and stuffing folders all the time. And so I think if my kids are getting more playtime and more time to be kids, it just benefits us that next day and makes our job easier. And we can cover more, and we can learn more, and we can have more fun.
Do the parents mind that there's no homework?
Nope. And again, I say this a lot. We just have to be open and communicate with our parents and let them know that that this is why we're doing it, and this is the reasoning behind it, and it will help your kids be happy and successful. Because that's what parents want. And so we just need to make sure that we're communicating with parents. And I think they're happy that it makes their life easier too, because they don't have to fight that battle.
Right. Jackie says she can't remember if you said, but do you keep track of where the kids are at the end of the day on the flip chart?
Every kid has a behavior calendar. And so they color that behavior calendar at the end of the day. They color it they have to color it just like they move their clips. It's their behavior. So it's their responsibility to communicate that to mom and dad or to their families at home. So they do color their behavior calendar at the end of the day. Of course, I monitor that to make sure they're coloring the right color, but they do, and then it goes home, parents sign it, and that's how we communicate about behavior.
Okay, so do you actually, so that's how you communicate it to the parents,
Yeah.
basically. That was actually the next question from Sarah.
If somebody is on yellow or orange, I'll stick a little Post-it note on there explaining to the parents what happened and why they're on that color, and I always tell them they can call me or email me if they have questions. If somebody gets to red, I will say this: if somebody gets to red, that is very, very serious, and it's very, very hard to do in our class. But as soon as somebody gets to red, I immediately stop what I'm doing. We pick up the phone and we call home, and I let the parents know or the family know, hey, I'm so sorry to have to call you, but so-and-so got on red, and here's why. If they want to talk to the child, I will allow them to talk to the child. If they don't ask to speak to the child, I don't put the child on the phone. But if they get to red, it's an immediate phone call home. Like I said, that rarely happens. I think last year it happened maybe 3 times in the whole year.
Gene wants to know, what out-of-the-box ideas do you have for this year?
I can't give away my secrets. So the no homework thing is one of my big ones. I've thought of a few things, and I'm toying with a lot of things, but I haven't really, I've got some out of the box ideas for like specific themes and units that we're doing. But nothing big and grand, like no tables, no desks as of right now. The no homework is kind of the big one. Because I was always the teacher who thought, well, yeah, but it might not benefit them, but it's teaching them the homework responsibility. And I was always a big believer in homework. And so this is a shift for me. So nothing like big, major yet, but you're going to see some fun out of the box stuff. Really more kind of based on what we're learning at the time. But if you have ideas, share them with me, because I'm willing. You know me, I'll try anything. So if you're doing big out of the box ideas, please share with me, because I would love to find new stuff and try new ideas, because I'm always looking for something to try and to bring into my classroom. Because what's the worst that could happen is that it could go wrong and it won't be successful, and that's okay. Then we can talk to our kids about it, and we can kind of talk through it, and the kids can see that we're willing to take risks and fail, and that we're going to learn from that and grow from that.
Misha says, how do you manage being out of the classroom to provide professional development and make the parents comfortable with that?
So really, the parents, it's never been an issue. I don't think the parents are always fully aware that I'm not there. The kids will probably go home and say that there was a sub. But we try really hard to plan my trips so that they're on weekends, or that I'm only out for a day. And so we try very hard. And I say no to stuff that it's going to take me out of the classroom a lot. But we're very, very careful about protecting that time. And so like I'll be traveling this weekend to provide some PD for a school, but I'm leaving Friday after school. So we're very careful of that. And I always try, always leave some very good plans for my subs so that things continue as much as possible in our routine and structure. And so I try to keep it as, the disruption is as minimal as possible. And, you know, I can say based on last year, I can compare the data across years. My kids last year were as successful as they were in previous years. And so I'm not seeing a big impact. If I ever started to notice it was hindering me in the classroom, it was something that I would definitely cut back on, because my heart and soul is in that classroom. And so that comes first. And the parents like knowing that I'm helping other teachers, and that's why they're so supportive of the videos on YouTube and the social media and all of that. And they like knowing that their kids are helping other teachers and other kids. And so the parents are very supportive.
So tell them about your sensory bins and how you introduce it.
So the sensory bin is it's one of our tub choices. So if the center wheel tells you to go to your tubs, the kids know that they can also go to the sensory bin. And so it's always differentiated. And the way I do it is the recording sheets are color coded. So if you're in the purple group or the pink group, you would pick your purple or pink paper. The way it works so that when the kids pick the paper, so in the sensory bin will be some kind of sensory material. And then there are always 2 sets of cards. So there's always an academic skill. So they're getting that sensory experience, but there's also some academics. So let's say Halloween, great example. So in the sensory bin are going to be some witches' cauldrons and some wizard bags. And so on the recording sheets, which are color coded, so if you're in the pink group, you would get the pink recording sheet. And on that recording sheet are the witches' cauldrons. And so the kids would already, just by looking, they know what they're looking for in the sensory bin. So they would say, oh, I'm looking for that the little pot. And so they would pull those pots out of the sensory bin. And let's say they're doing beginning sounds. So they would look at that pot and it's a picture of a carrot. And so they would carrot, and on their paper, they could either write the C or color the C or color the carrot. And so that's how I do it. It's just introduced. I usually introduce it. So I'll take the pink center group back to the sensory bin and introduce it in a small group setting. And then the next day I would introduce the purple group. So it's introduced in a small group setting, and then it's released to them in center time.
How do you explain your objectives to the students?
I tell them what we're doing and why we're doing it. And so I'm going to tell them, okay, so today we're going to learn how to count to 20, and we're going to learn to count to 20 so that we can count money, and we can learn to add and subtract. And so I just tell them what we're doing, what skill we're learning, and I give them some reasons as to why we're doing it. I don't think they need to know that today we're going to be learning that add means put together and subtract means take away, and it's standard KCC or KOA 1A. They just need to know what we're doing and why we're doing it. And so we can explain that in very, very kid-friendly terms. Nor do I think that I need to repeat the standard 3 times in a lesson. I think they just need to know what we're learning and why, and how it benefits them. And that can be done in multitudes of ways. But I am big on making sure that when my kids are working on something, that if an adult says, what are you working on? They can say, I'm working on beginning sounds, and those help me read, or those help me write. Or I'm working on sight words because I want to be a good reader or a good writer. That's how I do objectives with my kids.
All right, so we have 3 minutes until 8:30. So I think we should start doing some giveaways.
Okay.
Right, and then after the giveaways, we'll do our flash round where we go through and answer all the questions super fast.
Let's do it.
Is that cool?
That works for me.
All right, so which one do we want to do first?
Let's do the teacher planner.
Okay.
So a huge shout out to Bryce from the Teaching Texan for sponsoring tonight's show. Make sure that you follow Bryce on Instagram and Facebook and his blog and on Teachers Pay Teachers. He's a kindergarten teacher in Texas. He works at this amazing school in Texas and does a lot of project-based learning. So he's a great resource if you're looking for PBL stuff for your classroom. Full of great ideas, and a super nice guy. We got to spend some time with him in Orlando this summer. So make sure to follow the Teaching Texan and check out his stuff. He's a phenomenal guy, phenomenal teacher. So the winner will win one of his custom teacher planners, and we'll put the winner in touch with Bryce, and so that they can work out all the details.
All right, so tonight's winner is... Oh, I love this name.
Uh-oh.
Yay! Everyone knows that I'm a huge fan of the Golden Girls. So, Mary Devereaux. I hope it is pronounced Devereaux, not Devereaux. But, Mary Devereaux, you have won tonight's planner. I think that's the most excited I've gotten about the giveaway since we've been doing this.
Well,
Mary Devereaux.
Congratulations, Mary. You won a customized planner from the Teaching Texan. Make sure that you say something to Jason in the chat really quick so that we know you're here. And again, I want to give another big shout out to Bryce at the Teaching Texan for sponsoring tonight's show. So please go show him some love on social media and on his blog and on TPT.
All right, so we're just waiting for Mary.
So Mary Devereaux, if you're in the chat, say something to Jason.
Hello, Mary. Hello, hello. I just put your name in the chat box as well. If someone sees that she says something, please let me know. Sometimes I miss it. I try to sit here and watch, but sometimes I miss.
Mary, are you here?
Mary, quite contrary. How you Mary Devereaux, are you here? I don't think Mary's here. Oh, no.
After all that excitement. Well, maybe the next person we pick will be named Sophia.
Okay, I'm going to give her like 20 more seconds. And then
Mary Devereaux, are you here?
All right, well.
Okay, well, we'll pick somebody else.
All right, moving next.
All right, so now we're going to pick a new winner for a customized planner from the Teaching Texan.
I'm so sorry, Mary Devereaux. Miss Devereaux, I'm so sorry. So, drawing again, Wendy Carter.
Wendy Carter, if you're in the chat, you win a customized planner from the Teaching Texan. So please say something to Jason in the chat so we know that you're here. Wendy Carter. Wendy, are you here? Hurry, Wendy. I don't know. Bryce, are you in the chat? I don't know. Oh, he is? Oh, okay. I didn't know if he was here or not. Hi, Bryce. Everybody say hi to Bryce. So Wendy Carter, if you're in the chat, say something to Jason so we know you're here. Where is everybody?
I don't know. I mean, there's 156 people in here, so.
Wendy Carter, are you here? Wendy.
Somebody, again, if somebody sees her name pop up here and I didn't see it, please let me know. And just if anyone's wondering why we make sure that you're in the chat in order to win, we do that to make sure that that we're able to get in contact with you and that you are actually here tonight, because a lot of people can just go and try to sign up for this giveaway on the blog. So we want to make sure that no one else has went and signed up, but they're not actually here with you guys watching the giveaway. So that's the reason we have to make sure that you're here. And apparently Wendy is not here either. So moving on to our next winner.
Hey, third time's a charm, right?
Brandy. I don't have a last name. Name is Brandy. Email address is SPRollsGirls. SPRollsGirls. I'm sure I'm
Brandy, are you here? Bryce is nice. What is it? So while we're waiting on somebody to claim this prize, I have to give a big shout out to my friend Nikki at Melonheads for her awesome shirts. And so you can commission Nikki to do your own Melonheads. And so I've had mine for a long time. And so as a thank you gift, after the first conference, to thank Jason for all of the hard work he put into organizing the conference and making sure that entire day went off without a hitch, I had Nikki make him a Melonheads, and our friends Amy and Lisa, as a thank you gift, surprised us with the doodles. And so Nikki also did Butters and Lulu. And so now we have our whole family in Melonheads. And so a big shout out to Nikki at Melonheads for the shirt. I mean, I love our Melonheads, but I think these two right here are phenomenal. I don't think she could have done a better job of capturing the doodles than she did right here.
All right, so apparently Brandy is not here either. All right, moving on. We've never had this kind of problem. Christy Duffy. Christy Duffy, if you are here, please let me know in the chat that you are here.
Christy, I know you're here. Come on, Christy. Christy Duffy. Come on, Christy. Come on down. You're the next winner. Or the price is right. Come on, Christy. Somebody, come on. You can do it.
Okay, Christy, if you're here, you need to let me know that you're here.
Christy Duffy, if you are here, say something in the chat. Christy Duffy.
There she is.
Woo! We have a winner.
All right, Christy, I will be emailing you to get you in touch with Bryce at the Teaching Texan so that you can get your prize. All right, now SGI.
So again, ESGI, they were here earlier. It's esgisoftware.com. It's a one-on-one computer-based assessment. It saves you about 400 hours a year on assessments. I've used it for several years. I swear by it 1,000,000,100%. Every classroom needs it. It is a game changer when it comes to assessing. Like I said, on Sunday, we're going to do Facebook Live, and I'm going to kind of walk you through how I use it in my classroom. So if you don't win and you want to sign up for a 60-day free trial, make sure to use the code Smorgie, 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 and that will get you a 60-day free trial, and it will save you $40 off the subscription price if you want to subscribe.
And it enters them for a gift card.
Oh yeah, and they're giving away, I think, 50 TPT gift cards.
$50 TPT.
Yeah, 10 $50 TPT gift cards, so you're also entered into that drawing. And now my assessments, hi baby girl, my assessments are now published on ESGI, so they are available for everybody. So I've created assessments for ABC Bootcamp and Number Bootcamp. And also, as I'm creating assessments for my grade level this year, those will be released. And I'm also currently writing assessments for the next generation science standards. And so over the course of this year, I will be adding a lot more assessments of my own that are now published and available for everybody. So remember that code, Smorgie, or B2442 if you know that one. But our code is Smorgie. You can use that to sign up for your 60-day free trial and save $40 off the subscription price. Trust me, sign up for that 60-day free trial, use the code Smorgie, and you'll be hooked.
All right, tonight's winner of One for Europe, ESGI.
And if they're gonna be here on the first time, I can feel it. Even Lulu says so.
Allison Savage.
Allison Savage, if you're here, you win a 1-year subscription to ESGI. So quickly, say something in the chat to let us know you're here. Allison Savage. Girl. Allison Savage, are you here?
Oh, there she is.
There's Allison. Woo! Good job. Hey, Allison. Hi, Lulu.
All right, so Allison, I'll be emailing ESGI to get in touch with you using the email address that you used in the Rafflecopter. So be on the lookout for an email from ESGI on how to claim your prize. Congratulations.
Woohoo!
All right, so so that's our giveaways. That's the majority of tonight's broadcast. However, we're going to do a lightning round that we always do at the end to try to blast through the questions. Greg, you got to keep it short and sweet. We got to go.
I got this.
No rambling on.
I never ramble.
Well,
Everything I have to say is very
just
important.
make sure that you just keep it on.
Okay, let's go.
Hold on. All right, first question is from Maggie. How do you do morning journals?
They write their name, the date, and draw a picture. And then slowly as the year goes on, they start labeling, and then they start writing sentences. I have a blog post about it. You can search Kindergarten Smorgasbord Morning Journals.
Amy says, since you don't have nap time or rest time, how do you handle sleepy, tired stashes?
If they fall asleep, I let them sleep.
Daniela says, is there a hopes and dream format that you use?
Yes, we read the book Big Plans, which is out of print, but you can go to my YouTube channel, and there's a video of me reading the book, and we make a puzzle, and you can Google. I have the template on the blog as a freebie. You can just search hopes and dreams.
Jennifer, do you put your QR codes on a ring in baggies, or how do you store them so that kiddos can access them easily but not lose them or mix them up?
They're in Ziploc bags with the recording sheets, and they're all color-coded, and the clip art is what keeps them organized.
By the way, I know you don't ramble. I'm just being silly. Marina, do you have a copy of the calendar somewhere?
The calendar.
Don't know exactly which calendar.
I'm assuming you're talking about my calendar routine. It's on TPT.
Kim, what if the other kindergarten classrooms are doing homework?
That's fine, because remember, we have to do what works in our classroom for our kids. And so you do what fits you and what works for you and your kids.
Leslie, do you do spelling tests in kindergarten?
No, we do word study, developmental spelling analysis, where it's more focused on sorting by features and sounds, and have a whole week-long blog series on how we do that and why we do it and our routine. So you can just you can find that on the blog and you can see what we do.
Sarah asked, how do you use the Silhouette Cameo for your classroom?
Oh my gosh, so many ways. We've done decorations, and I've made my letters for my word wall. I use it a lot to do light box activities, and I use it to make a lot of centers. And I know Sarah, it's probably the same Sarah. So hi, Sarah. I'm going to work on a blog post on ways that I use it.
Do you do weekly assessments on Friday, or do you simply use ESGI to do your assessments?
We do common formative assessments every Friday, and we use ESGI to do those.
Angel, what is your favorite sensory bin material?
Oh my gosh. The go-to is always pasta, because we can make it any color we want and it can be scented. Also rice, because it can be colored and scented. I will have to say I'm a big fan of the disco ball, and so my New Year's sensory bin with all of the confetti and the little disco balls might have been one of my favorites.
Daniela, do you have the sensory bin recording sheets on TPT?
They are always included in my center resources, and so I don't create anything specifically for the sensory bin, but I take centers that I've created. So let's say you buy my witches and zombies blackline centers. I use those centers and put them in the sensory bin, so the recording sheets are included.
Hold on. I've almost got them all. I got all the ones that I hadn't written down or that I moved over. So
yeah, I should ramble so you can find questions.
Where do you get the light that you see in the corner? That is from a smorgasbord of sense.scentsy.us. That is a Scentsy diffuser.
They're awesome. Yeah, so you can, a smorgasbord of sense.scentsy.us.
Yes.
Yeah, it is a Scentsy diffuser. We have 2 of them in our house. So they're awesome.
Do your kids do any work on the computer?
Oh yeah. They go to computer. That's one of their computers is a center choice, and so they get to go to computers during centers. But we also do Tech-Free Tuesday, because I'm a big believer that kids get way too much screen time. And so on Tuesdays in our classroom, it's Tech-Free Tuesday, and so nobody uses technology on Tuesdays.
Teresa, how do you store the boot camps?
The centers are stored in Ziploc bags, stored by skill. So we have letters. I don't know. The kids take the hats home at the end of the day. They take home the handwriting at the end of the day. The circle maps are displayed in the classroom. And then when we're done with them, we roll them up and put them in a basket so the kids can pull them out and unroll them.
Michelle, she must not have been here earlier in the night talking about homework, because she says how much, if any.
No homework. No homework. Research supports absolutely no homework in kindergarten.
You had asked earlier, or actually Adam had mentioned the unarmed Army men.
Yes.
And I think, did you mention that maybe you were looking for
me and Adam? Yeah, Adam had mentioned it on Facebook, okay. And then I had said I would love to have.
What's your plan with those, and why are you wanting unarmed Army men?
I want to use them for number boot camp as manipulatives. I think Adam has talked about using his in his sensory bin, so they make a great sensory bin material. But of course, there's a lot of sensitivity around the Army men because they have weapons, and so if anybody knows where to get little green Army men without weapons, that would be awesome. But I want to use mine as math manipulatives and probably in the sensory bin.
Headphones, we're down to like people asking questions right now.
Okay.
So we really were only trying to go back and grab all those questions that we hadn't answered yet. But there's 2 or 3 people have asked about headphones.
We just talked about this at school today. It's frustrating because we buy them and they break. We also will put it on our supply list so everybody has their own pair. If Chad, I don't know if Chad is here from Male Kindergarten Teacher.
Yes.
Chad, you get headphones from a website that you really like. So Chad, Can you put that in the chat really fast? Because I know you have some that you really like.
And Betty said that someone actually posted on Adam's status where to find the unarmed.
Oh, perfect.
Argument.
Good.
That's good. It's Kids Gear Headphones.
Kids Gear Headphones. There you go. Kids Gear Headphones.
Yep. All right. Well, that's got all of our questions answered. So.
All right. So as the school year kicks off, I want to remind everybody and encourage everybody to please join Kayla from Top Dog Teaching and myself in our Happy Classrooms mission. I looked at Instagram today. We are almost at 17,000 Happy Classrooms posts. So I want to see that hit 100,000 this year. We know that the negativity on social media and in the media, that's not an accurate, true reflection of what happens in our classroom, because we know that every day we show up, and in spite of all of the obstacles and red tape and politics and stuff that gets in the way of teaching, we show up every day and we teach the crap out of our kids, and our kids do amazing, incredible things every single day. And we know that in our classrooms every day, incredible things are happening. Just nobody knows that because we don't tell our stories. We don't have a marketing department. We don't have a PR department. And so Happy Classrooms is how we start to change the conversation and how we start telling our story. So I'm challenging every single person to post on social media every single day one positive thing that happened in your classroom or in your school. Use the hashtag Happy Classrooms, and we start to take over the conversation, and we start telling our story, and people realize that the stuff that's happening on the news or on social media, that's not really what's happening in our schools and classrooms, because we're doing a phenomenal job of educating our kids. It's all of the other stuff that makes that hard and makes it look like we're not. So please start telling your story and your students' stories and the stories of teachers and classrooms all over the country by sharing happy, positive things from your classroom every single day, and use the hashtag Happy Classrooms so we can take over the conversation and we can let people know that teachers and kids are doing amazing things in schools every single day. And so I know a lot of you have started school. I know a lot of you are getting ready. And so, so start posting with Happy Classrooms, spread the word about Happy Classrooms, and let's make that something that really blows up this year. And I just want to say, I hope that everybody has an amazing school year. I hope this is your best school year ever. I am exhausted after my first day, but man, it was great to be back with my kids today. And, you know, we have an amazing responsibility. We have the best job in the world. And so we expect our kids to come in every day and to be happy, and to be brave and bold and take risks and try new things. And so I want to encourage you to do the same thing. If we're expecting our kids to take risks and try things, we need to be willing to do the same thing. So I hope this year that you find things that are very out of the box and make you uncomfortable, and that you take the leap and take risks, and just be brave and be bold this year. And remember that at the end of the day, it's really all about those kids, and it's about the experience and the education that we give them every single day. And so I hope that you have the best school year ever. I hope that you find your teacher tribe and that you are surrounded by people who support you and encourage you. And I can't wait to see everything that's happening in classrooms all over the country, because you all inspire me to be better and to do bigger, better things. And you also help me be better by sharing your ideas and giving me ideas. And so thank you, teachers, for all that you do for our kids every day, and for the sacrifices that you make and the school supplies that you buy. And I hope that you have the best year ever. And as always, you can find us on social media. If you need anything, if we can answer questions or help, you have our email, kindersmorgie@gmail.com. You can message us on Facebook and social media. So we're always here to help. If you ever need anything, if we can help, please let us know. So have the best school year ever. Go out there, be bold, be brave, take some risks, and teach the crap out of your kids. Thanks for spending your night with us, and we'll see you all very soon for the next Submissions for Smorgie Live. Bye.